Or is it the that?
Oh, it's good.
Oh, no, that's
Yep.
it.
And then hit
Okay.
record. And then go back down here. And we do the same for Periscope.
I see.
Hit Periscope now.
Okay. And do you write anything for Periscope? Oh, on your phone. Okay. Record. Cool. Excellent.
There you go.
We are already just waiting to get started.
You're done.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Laura.
Thanks.
So, welcome to Oracle DevLIVE. We are at Java 1 this year. And
Yep.
so my name is Yolande Poirier, and I work for Oracle Technology Network. And my guest today is
Konrad Malawski from Lightband on the Akka team.
yes, so thank you.
Yep.
Thank you for being
Thank
here.
you for having me.
So you are actually part of the team that developed the Akka toolkit,
Yeah,
right?
correct. So I'm
So
on the Akka team, 3 years or so at Lightband now. And other than that, on the day job, I also participated in the Reactive Streams initiative. So that's what we're going to talk about today, mostly. And also wrote a book recently for Riley called Why Reactive.
Okay.
That's kind of a book that tries to explain and disambiguate the term reactive because people are kind of new to it, a bit confused by it, and being Akka having years of experience with it, we kind of disambiguated some of the terms there. So it's a free book from Riley. You can just download it. It's like a 15 pages or so, so a pretty small, condensed info kind of guide.
And so it's focused really on the Akka
No, no,
toolkit or
actually.
streams?
So the book itself, the Why Reactive book, is specifically about reactive.
Okay.
So it's not about Akka. We didn't want to kind of be the technology pitch. And it's also not just about streams, but what comes after. Because now, so reactive streams that ended up being in the JDK now, in JDK 9, a few weeks ago, like when it got public. And now the thing is that people will be new to it and kind of confused and maybe only seeing the first word reactive and assuming, okay, that's the end of the story. Whereas reactive and streams, that's kind of one part of it, but there's much more to reactive. So it's elasticity and building elastic, scalable systems. And streaming is one part of it, but not the entire story. So that's what the book is about.
I see. Okay, so a lot more actually than just
Exactly.
streaming.
Yeah.
So we were just talking, and you were telling me that Akka is actually. Well, so what is Akka, for example?
Right. So Akka, we call it a toolkit we try not to be a framework. We are very. You can pick and choose specific parts of Akka. And let's say you want to do clustering, so you only pick the clustering stuff. You don't need to have the streaming. Or if you want the streaming things, then you only pick the streaming things. You don't need the clustering things. So we are more of a pick and choose toolkit for building distributed and concurrent applications on the JVM. So it has a Scala API and a Java API. Both of them are equal, and basically feature parity is always complete, etc.
Okay, and so you were telling me also that it's compatible with Java 9,
Yeah,
right? So
exactly.
you just finished it
Yeah,
just on
just in
Friday?
time.
Couple
Exactly.
of
So because Reactive Streams is this initiative and this API that we've been working on for the last 3 years or so, and with that being included in JDK 9, obviously we wanted to support and be compatible with JDK 9 as soon as it came out. So we managed to have a stable release last Friday, just to do final checks on the actual stable release of JDK 9. And yeah, now we're fully compatible with JDK 9, including the new Java util concurrent APIs, which are exactly reactive streams. So it was basically pulled in under a different name.
Okay, so how does that work with the module system? I mean, are you part
Yeah,
of
so
it? Or-
we're currently not modularized actually.
Okay.
We're just running on JDK 9 without the modules, but that's definitely what we will have to look into. And it kind of fits as well, because we have naturally kind of structured the project into these modules. Like I said, it's pick this, pick that. We just have to do that work actually. So that's not done currently. It's compatible on the APIs I mentioned, and yeah, that it doesn't blow up, because as a concurrency toolkit, we were using a lot of kind of unsafe and kind of now blocked APIs. So we had to rewrite some of that.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
But you got it done.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
That's good.
thank you.
Yes, and with JDK9, I mean, you don't have to use the module system anyway. I
Yeah.
mean, you can still
Yeah.
run things on the
Yeah.
class bus, so it's you still have
Exactly.
time to actually.
So we're also interested in feedback from people.
Okay.
If that's very interesting, or kind of where to put it in the roadmap, if we should like jump on it right away, or if people are slower to adopt it anyway. So we'll see. That's definitely in the roadmap, not quite sure where exactly now.
Right. Yes, because it's really a brand new system,
Yeah.
so we
Yeah.
don't really know
Yeah.
how it's going to be used.
Yeah.
Yep. So you mentioned that it works across platforms,
Yeah.
and so can you elaborate a little bit, like what kind of tools and platform can we use with Akka?
Oh yeah, so basically we do a number of things. We have our own kind of binary high-performance messaging protocol. We can easily do around 1 million messages per second between two nodes using actual network. That's like 100 byte-sized messages, and easily 1 million of those. So that's one part. That needs Akka to be kind of on both sides of the communication, because it's our custom proprietary, well, it's not really proprietary, it's just custom protocol based on UDP. And then we also have an HTTP server that implements HTTP 2 already. So even if you are still on JDK 8, but you already want HTTP 2 things, we can give you that. And of course with JDK 9 there's the HTTP 2 client, so that's also something we're very excited about. So there's these two things, and also the in-process messaging, where we easily do like tens of millions of messages between two components. So it's also very popular that people don't really need to go distributed, because in a single node it's already fast enough. Today there was a talk by DreamWorks where they were initially a bit worried that their infrastructure, they couldn't quite go clustered with Akka yet. Some limitations in their infrastructure. So they were worried, yeah, will it be enough? And then they benchmarked, and it was like hundreds of times fast enough. So even just the local abstractions, so we call them actors, very, very powerful. The streaming as well, actually. So that's also a streaming local abstraction. And maybe let's talk about that now.
Yeah, go ahead.
So with reactive streams, we kind of was kind of kickstarted by Victor Klang.
Before you go that path, so
Yeah.
what do you exactly mean by reactive streams?
Oh,
Because
yeah.
I think there is a lot of things are called that, but what kind of example could you give about like reactive streams?
Yeah, so that's a very good question, especially because the word reactive is now just slapped onto everything. It's like, oh, a reactive database, reactive chair, everything is reactive. So reactive streams is specifically kind of there's a specification and there's a TCK, so I wrote the TCK there. And if you want to claim that you're a reactive streams implementation, well, then you have to pass the TCK. So it's very black and white. Either you are an implementation of it or you're not. So people can't just go around and claim they are reactive streams without having passed the thing. And what it specifically aims to address is something we've seen in the past with Akka. Like I said, okay, super fast, in process, 40 million per second. But by the end of the day, you need to interact with some other system. Be it some legacy system or just someone else's system or some database, something. And what our customers would then get into is, okay, they rewrote their system using our reactive technology, and that's fast. It's just killing all of the other systems in the company, because overloading them and basically not the other systems not being able to cope with the rate of producing data this new system was. So this is why we kind of started reactive streams, where it's aiming to solve asynchronous, because obviously we need to be asynchronous, and back-pressured streaming. So when we say back-pressured, we mean that not faster than the other side can actually consume the data. So, like I said, when we had these people build APIs using Akka and then overloading other systems. Well, that's bad for Akka, right? I mean, okay, great that it's fast, but it's killing other systems, so that's not good.
Right.
So this is why Reactive Streams is both kind of vendor agnostic. When we did that, it's Creative Commons 0. We invited Spring people, we invited Red Hat people, we invited Oracle people to work on it all together. So it's vendor agnostic, everybody implements the same thing, which was and still is the only way this could actually achieve the goal of integrating multiple systems in a way that none of them overload each other. And now in JDK 9 it's in Java, so there's even less reason to be kind of afraid of it, that it's a thing on the side. Will it be there in 5 years or not? If it's in Java, you know it's going to be there. You're not kind of locked in by some, I don't know, the Akka people's technology. You can migrate away if you want to.
Okay, cool. So anything else? So where can people find more information?
Oh yeah, that's a good question. So Reactive Streams has a website, so that's reactivestreams.org. It kind of explains the what and why, and it also contains the specification and the TCK. However, that's more of a, if you want to be adventurous and kind of try it out, to implement such a thing. But it's not really intended for people to be randomly implementing the specification. It's more like if you're a framework, if you're RxJava, for example, RxJava implements it, Reactor implements it, Vertex implements it, Akka implements it. So if the big guys implement it, then you're kind of, you just want to know that they implement it and then things will work. So it's more about getting the idea what it is. So the website is good, and obviously, since it's now in Java, you can just check the Java doc of Java util concurrent flow. It also contains most of the rules and what things are allowed. And obviously then implementations. So ours would be Akka Streams. Just Google for Akka Streams and the other implementations that I mentioned. They all function exactly the same way. Slight differences in APIs and style, depending what library made what trade-offs.
Cool. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your time.
Do you have any presentations? That
Yeah, I have a presentation kind of about that topic to explain it in depth. So it's on Thursday, I believe around 1, Moscone West. I forgot which room, but you can find it online if you just Google for Reactive Streams.
So which day?
Thursday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Taking the time and explaining the Akka
Thanks.
toolkit.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.